This guy right here is part of Dirty South Music, part of the
Got,
label Slip and Slide Records.
got that
Mr.
right.
Corey, yep, Mr. Corey C.O. Evans.
You
How
got
you
that
doing,
right.
man?
I'm good. How y'all doing?
Doing good, man. Welcome to the show.
Man, appreciate y'all having me.
Yes, sir.
I'm starting out with the first question, bro. What was it like growing up in Miami?
Man, growing up in Miami, man, you just felt like the energy of just excitement at all times. You know, as a kid, it was always something to do. And it was always like spectacular, whatever we did. If it was going to the skating rink, which was Luke, Luke Skywalker, Uncle Luke at the time, he was the promoter for those teenage jams and things like that. And it was always like a star-studded moment, just being a part of Miami. So I guess being in Miami, you got used to that. You got used to the star-studded atmosphere to always be a part of something. So that's how I grew up, with just that, the enthusiasm to always want to do something, to be something.
Yeah. Okay. So you set the scene for us as a youngin coming up, but what about like the music scene? Like who was some of the artists that kind of had it rocking at the time coming up for you?
Basically at the time, we would listen to, Miami would listen to like a lot of like freestyle music, or Africa Bambaataa, Let's Dance to the Drummer's Beat, all those beats like that. Like that was like Miami music to me.
Okay.
Rock, Drummer's Beat, all of those types of songs like that. Living in the Bottle, all that. So from that, we had like Ghetto Style. We had Luke was the man at the time, and he became like a big star. So that was like our inspiration, and that's what we looked up to from that point on. From Live Crew, Poison Clan.
What made you want to get started with music, though, bro?
Man, I always wanted to be a part of music. You know, my mom, she played the piano. She grew up playing the piano as a little kid when she was like 5 or 6 years old. We went to the Apollo at a very young age, where they named her the little girl with the big voice. She sang across the world. She was a gospel singer, and she used to sing with Aretha Franklin. Actually, it was, both of them was the same. So if you listen to my mom, you listen to Aretha, they both sound basically the same as far as like playing the piano and singing. And those were her friends, and that's who she hung out with. She hung out with the gospel crew. So I always wanted that, as far as like being a performer from that, even though I didn't know how to play the piano or sing or anything like that. But it was just so exciting going to all those gospel concerts as a kid. But, once you get your own identity, and as a little kid, then you see somebody like LL Cool J, and he blew my mind. I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
That's who I inspired to be from that point on.
That's hard, man. Can you speak about that though? Like LL being an inspiration, because LL was like the man. Like he's still the man, but like back then, as far as like being a rap star or just like a music star, he was really that. So like, can you kind of shed some light on that to like some of the younger viewers, so they could really just grasp?
All right, so think of like what Drake is as a star right now.
Yeah.
That's how LL Cool J was. You had a lot of other groups. You had Run DMC, you had Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five. You had a whole bunch of other artists, but nobody ever did it like LL Cool J. Even though you had Big Daddy Kane coming out at the same time. So Big Daddy Kane would be equivalent to like a J. Cole. And LL is Drake. Who else you had? Like Rakim would be like Kendrick Lamar. So that's how we setting it up. And then as far as like the girls, Salt and Pepper will be equivalent to like the City Girls. And it was dope, man. That was a great time for me.
Give me your favorite LL record. What's your favorite LL song?
Man, I can't even say record, I could just say albums, like radio. If you listen to radio from the beginning to the end, that's it. My radio, believe me, I like it loud. I'm the man with the box deck, walking down the street, walking hardboard V, while my JVC, by Vacant the Concrete. That was dope. You know, like he had a song called Dear Yvette on there. Dear Yvette, Dear Yvette. And he talking about like how they ran through the girl, you know. It's crazy.
Yeah. That was dope.
My favorite LL record is a Big Old Butt, Lounging, and 4, 3, 2, 1.
Yeah, I would say it's only 4 rappers in a certain tier. That's Rakim, Big Daddy, Biggie, and Jay-Z. Them the God MCs. I call them the God MCs. They the top. We haven't had a 5th God MC yet, as far as me.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
So tell me, what was it like doing a Def Comedy Jam tour back in the 90s?
Man, I was just hanging out with Joe Torre at the time. He was the host of the tour. And just so happened he was hanging out in Florida doing his tour, and then we hanging out with him, and I was in a group. And, you know, he was like, yo, come perform. If you're a real artist, come perform. And we performed for a packed crowd, a sold-out crowd in Miami. And just so happened some of my old classmates was in the crowd. They saw it. They went crazy. And they was like, man, let's start a record label. And that's how Slip and Slide Records got started.
That's hard. So do you remember your first big studio session, or just like a memorable studio session you had?
I remember like 14 years old, and I was doing this TV show for PBS. It was like a high school TV show or something like that, where we do like problems that teenagers go through and stuff like that. But they had me to write a rap for my part. I wrote the rap and I performed it in the studio. I was like, wow, I could get used to this. That was like my first time. And from that, I mean, the sky's the limit. Ain't stopped since.
Yeah.
One of the craziest moments of being in the studio is one time I was in the studio with Jay-Z, and we were hanging out we was in there for like a couple of hours just hanging and just talking trash. And it's right around the time when MySpace came out, and he didn't know anything about MySpace. He was like, what is that? And then I was showing him what MySpace was. It was on my computer in the studio at the time. He was like blown away and just chilling. And then he hit the engineer. Actually, Ross was on our label too, on Slip and Slide Records. So we were in New York at the time, and we was getting Jay-Z to do this feature. And that's when he did the feature to Hustling. So when I talk about like homeboy just walked in the middle of he walked in the booth and just did his verse. Ain't write it down, nothing. It was like amazing. He even had more to it. Like what he stopped at, it was like he messed up. But he was trying to live up to that one take Jake, that one take Hove. So he just stopped right there.
That's hard, man.
Yeah.
So take us through down memory lane of the Slip and Slide days. Like cause y'all got so many hits and so many dope artists.
Man, so many hits, so many dope stories. I mean, the beginning was just me and Money Mark tearing up the whole South, just trying to make it happen for the label. At the time, we rented a car and did like a 30-day tour across Florida, Alabama, Mississippi, and back. And we hit all the major cities within Florida, some little cities in between, Alabama, Mississippi, and just trying to make it happen for us, man. It was a struggle. It was hard. And so just so happened at the time we were doing really good and the label was catching on that Trick Daddy wanted to be a part of what we was doing, so he was sending his raps in. He was locked up at the time. He would send them in on the yellow binder, all his songs, for us to read. And so when he got out, he did a talent show with Luke. And from that, Luke put him on a big record. And when he was really big, the label was like, all right, let's sign him. And then they signed him, and it was like history from there. I mean, that's just one of the many stories that we got.
I'm already knowing, man. Anytime I see like a trick interview, it's always some stories. And shout out to Trina. She just did a Drink Champs interview. So I actually gotta watch that one. But what I wanted to ask you is what did it do to your mindset and just your perspective when you started being able to travel and go to different places? Did it play a part into helping you with your music, producing? Like, talk to us about that.
Oh, most definitely. I mean, you just get a different mind frame. As a kid, I always just wanted to travel and perform. So artists like MC Hammer, he had like great stage shows. So at like 16, 17 years old, we doing like talent shows at school. So I used to draw in the notebooks, like how my set design is supposed to look. Even the ideas I still have now that's never been done. I had ideas back then that I just wanted my show to look like. And from that, just traveling and seeing different people perform across the world just give you a whole different mind frame on how you rap, how you even write songs. Like breathing is really important. And just things that you say to catch people's attention. So that's, that made a big difference in how you perform. And I see it in a lot of artists too. Right now, the ones that perform a lot, they have better ways of performing their songs when they record.
That makes sense.
Hey man, so take me back to the studio sessions or recording and being part of Now, Shut Up, and Take It to the House. Because I already know y'all had some good times back then.
Oh, definitely. But even before all those records came out, a fun fact that a lot of people miss out with is I was the first person to put Trina on the record. It's called My Baby Mama Made Me Sick, on my first album with Trey Plus Six. She was the girl talking on there, but I had her talking because I liked her squeaky voice at the time. And I was like, man, you should be a rapper. So that's how she came around. And then with the Nan song, we used to write songs all the time. Trick wrote to the beat. In the van, we was actually doing some shows in Florida. We had like a 5-city tour that we did in Florida. And he wrote it, and that I was supposed to be the one who did Shut Up, the one who says, "Are those big boys jeans you're wearing?" She was supposed to do the Nan song, but she didn't really believe in us at the time. And then I convinced Trina to do it. She did it, and it was history. And then from after that, then Pinky was like, dang, Trina blew up from that. So let me do this Shut Up record. But it wasn't as impactful because she was just doing like that one line.
Yeah.
So everything you hear Trina talk about is really Pinky, because Pinky is the wild one.
Okay.
That's hard. So what was it like seeing those records take off? Because I imagine you just doing what you love, making the music, but to see it start to become impactful records, and we talking about like some pretty big records, man. Like, so what was it like to see that success coming from those joints?
I mean, the first success was like Nan.
Mm-hmm.
Crazy. Didn't know it would be as big as it was, but then it started getting us like bigger shows. We started doing shows. We did this performance for MTV actually, when they used to do the spring break. We did it.
Man, yeah.
In Bahamas.
I remember it, right?
And I was supposed to go on the show because, I was like the hype man at the time. and I ain't have a birth certificate. I had to make a fake birth certificate to go. But I got on the plane. So that's before you need a passport and all that stuff. It was crazy.
Yeah. Well, let me correct myself. I remember seeing it on TV because I was a little youngin' when that song was out. But I just remember that impact and that moment being big, man, when those joints was going off. So yeah.
At that, like, it was almost a competition because it was us, then it was Juvie. And Juvie had the Han record at the time. So we was doing a lot of shows together and trying to be as successful as them because, you know, we from another city. They got Wayne, they got Turk, the Hot Boys, the whole Big Timers. They got a whole movement going on. And we like, shoot, we got the whole Slip and Slide movement going on.
Yeah.
It's as big as them.
Nah, that's dope, bro.
We never looked at the record as like big enough because it was like we was always just trying to be bigger and bigger and bigger. The Han came out, but when that Back That Ass Up came, they went to a whole nother atmosphere. They was out of here, and we were still trying to make it happen. And Shut Up came, but it was big, but that was big, boy.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah.
And also, you known for writing and co-producing. So tell me about the summer song of 2004 with P.D. Pablo, Freakily, which Sweetie remade it and turned it to My Type. Now that's huge right there.
Yeah. That record, actually, I was doing a lot of writing for Lil Jon, coming up with ideas for him. And he sent me like I got like 400 beats of just Lil Jon beats, like old beats. I'm talking about everything. So that was one of the songs that was on my iPad at the time, iPod, and I did it. Did the hook, did everything. So like when you listen to the record and you hear at the beginning, when it's like, yeah, Lil Jon, that's me. And then when I was doing that, realistically, I was imitating that for Mystikal, because I was doing a song that I did for Mystikal to get the record. But he didn't like the record. He thought it was corny. And then I just heard the record on the radio one day. I was like, what? And this is crazy. And it was like, then they wasn't going to let it come out because they used that beat for Yeah. That was the original beat for Yeah for Usher.
Oh.
So that's how they got the idea of Yeah from that song, because when I was like, yeah.
And they just amplified it and just said it more times.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's amazing, bro, how people, you know, jacking for beats and hooks and stuff. This has been going on for years.
Right. So Lil Jon had to redo the beat over.
Mm.
So he redid it. It's the same key. It's the same drum patterns. He just changed up a few things and added some other things to it. I mean, he got two amazing records. I think Yeah went #1, and I think Freakily went #4. And that was on the Billboard Hot 100. So, I mean, that was like really big.
Sure.
That's dope, man. So one thing that I've learned about like Florida music was how you guys like listen to the music sped up. And that was new to me until I seen like Kodak Black came on the scene. And I would see videos of him listening to like hit songs, but they would be sped up. And I'm like, why the song sped up? And then I learned like that's Florida.
That's how they would do. They would dance to that. Like the song Kodak Black got, that Hussein Bolt song. That's actually an old, like a DJs be like DJing to that, and people like dance in the hood to that, like all day. Like he made it pop.
Yeah.
More so than what it was. It was like faster. He slowed it down and thugging in my Reebok. Yeah.
How is that though? Like seeing what the music scene was back then and to now, like guys like Kodak Black and other artists like coming up, like, you know what I mean, I guess evolving the Florida music sound. how's it seeing somebody like a Kodak in today's game?
Hey man, I love it, man. You know, he's representing Florida. I mean, I kind of get upset that he ain't from Miami or rep Miami. So that mean that we need an artist from Miami. Cause like realistically, man, when we have artists from Miami, our artists be big. And I mean, let me just run down a few. Let's start with Gloria Estefan. She's like one of the biggest artists in Latin music. Then you have Luke, who was a part of the reason why artists have to put the parental advisory sticker on they album. Then you had a Trick Daddy, you had a Trina, you had a Rick Ross, you had a Flow Rider, Pitbull, Jason Derulo, you got DJ Khaled. Think of that, like it's like star-studded. You got
is Ace Hood from? Well, he's from Broward, right?
He's from the same area as Kodak, but like I wouldn't just say Dade County. I would look at it like South Florida. I'd be like, yo, we all from South Florida. Dade, Broward, Palm Beach. Then you got a Kodak. You got a XXX Titian. You got Ariana Grande.
Okay.
You know, like
where Plies from? He from Florida or no?
Nah, but he from like the West Coast. He from like Tampa and Lakeland. Even though he was signed to Slip and Slide Records, he was from the other side.
Okay.
T-Pain. That's when you say like Florida. Florida, you got T-Pain, you got Plies, you got Rod Wave, you got Nardo Wick. So look at it like that.
He's some huge artists.
I'm happy for everybody.
Yeah, these are definitely some huge, especially like with Rod Wave, man. Rod Wave got it. Right, like you'll hear Rod and you don't expect him to be from Florida. So it's like that's the crazy thing with music today. Like a lot of people don't even sound like where they're from. I think that's just like the evolution of hip hop though, because you'll hear somebody sound like they from Atlanta.
You sound like it to me.
Yeah. Okay.
So Rod Wave and Major 9 would be somewhat like each other.
Okay, I'm about to go check him out. I'm about to go do my research. Okay.
Yeah, but I was like really the first one to sing on all those records like that. Like if you listen to the old Slip and Slide records, like Changed My Life. Gotta change my life. Lord knows I ain't living right. Y'all know I ain't chilling right. I was doing all those things, but then the label, they'll pick at me. Like they was like, man, why you on rap? Why you gotta keep singing on all these damn records and you wanna be Nate Dogg and blah 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 blah. It was like put me in a box in a kind of way.
Yeah.
Doing what they normally do, bro.
Politics.
Yeah.
Doing what they always do, bro.
Yeah.
Theo, I appreciate y'all. Florida people though, man. Y'all make some dope music, especially Slip and Slide.
It's fun, man. You know, and it's cool that after so many years we could still like work together. I still work with Trina. I do a lot of her. I don't call it management. People say, yeah, he the manager, but I'm more so like the consultant because she manages herself. It's hard to manage an artist like her, you know? But I still work with her day to day on her business affairs. And now I just started a cooking show with Trick, which is amazing. Amazing. We're at like episode 25 right now. So doing good, man. Nobody believes
Amazing
me.
Amazing and funny.
Yeah, man, it's real funny. Every week it's always another. It's crazy, man. Sometimes I just be like,
what's about to happen this week, man?
Yeah.
Especially with Trick, bro. Especially with Trick, man.
So, CEO, man, what's your take on labels? You think it's off talent or they going off numbers?
Well, today the record labels, like I look at it as like nepotism. You know, like most of the labels are hired. They're hiring people that's like they friends, and that's cool. Like you put people on, but a lot of these people don't really know talent. They don't really know music. They don't really know anything. So they base everything off of how many followers you got on Instagram, how many followers you got on TikTok. And that's like kind of destroying the music. More so when you have like labels used to develop artists and make from talent and make them into big stars.
Yeah. Like artists,
I'm sure like a lot of talented people that really deserve to be heard and that could make a big impact probably won't get heard in this next decade or so, because everything's going to be based off of what's on TikTok and what's off of how many followers you got on Instagram. And let's keep it $150. Name the last artist that got signed from having followers on Instagram has been successful. Can't.
Yeah.
So
it's all microwave nowadays. Seem like.
Yeah.
It's really because me and DJ talked about that on a couple episodes too. Like within this new decade, it's gonna be interesting to see who are some artists that come in like the Coles and the Drakes, the Kendricks, like because you really don't see that many artists like that yet. And I know we just a year, well, we 2 years in now to the new decade. So, but it's like, man, last decade we was hit with some artists that was really coming with substance, man. It's like we lacking that right now. Like you said, everything is based off of the internet, and it's cool because we do get some fun records that come from like a TikTok or something like that. But it's like 2 months from now, are you still listening?
Like not like an artist you can listen to the whole album and it's a whole concept. Like you just thinking about the singles. Nah, man. Like I grew up in the era where, like I said, I was listening to albums, radio. I'm Bad. That was LL Cool J. When you went to Jay-Z, people talk. They don't be like, "Oh, you remember the Ain't No Nigga off the first album?" No, they gonna be like Reasonable Doubt, Blueprint.
Oh, wow.
They naming the albums, the Black Album.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Good Kid, Mad City. Damn, I'm like 2 of my favorite albums. Like that. You thinking like The Chronic? The Chronic is, come on, man. Give me albums. Don't give me no album cuts.
Doggy Style, All Eyes on Me.
Doggy Style, All Eyes on Me. Right. You thinking of the album? We ain't gonna have that right now. They don't really care. I don't know what happened.
I think too, maybe the playlist play a part of that too, because I was actually having a conversation with somebody about like exactly what you just said about albums. Like people they'll listen to your album, but if you ain't just got an album that just hits from top to bottom, like quote unquote hits to, just the person that just want to hear the songs that's all over the radio and stuff like that, they really not listening to your album. They'll take a song that they like or the song that became the hit and they'll put it on the playlist. So you probably got like maybe a week or 2 for people to jam your album, and then after that, it's just like they listen to just singles off your album, and you know what I mean? They actually,
man, Good Kid, Mad City, bro. You could listen to that from the beginning to the end.
Yeah,
and I'm talking about it's a story.
Facts.
Compton story.
Right. Like listen to each record. Each record is constructed so well. Like that's probably me personally. I look at that as like being one of the best albums, best hip hop albums of the last decade, of 2010 to 2020. And I thought Damn was just as well, because look at the titles of every song that he had, like Love, Lust, Envy. You know, like it was the concept. That was like amazing. Those 2 albums, like, was, man, I'm blown away by those 2 albums.
You heard this new
and I'm not like no Kendrick Lamar fan, like, nah, but those albums,
you can't deny it. Like with Damn, for you to make an album I can listen to from top to bottom, and you sequence it where I can listen to it from back to front. Like, bro, right. What other artists even thinking like that? Like, that's what it's just like, it's crazy.
Right. Ain't that the Damn album? Like it was meant to be listened to backwards, right?
Yeah, that's the Damn one.
Yep.
Yeah. And how he talked about how his dad worked at a store and
top rob.
Yeah, that's
Crazy.
crazy, bro.
That's a whole nother level. We ain't getting that these days. And that was just 5 years ago.
Man, I'm gonna tell you, this one kid I've been like working with and really trying to help, and I get it, man. He's so shell shocked, but this kid, One Take Timmy, you write this down, like WUNTAYK Timmy.
Are you talking? He from Louisville?
Louisville.
Yeah, I know.
One of the best.
I know him.
One of the best rappers that's over anybody. This dude's metaphors, triple entendres. Like he got songs that make you have to listen to it. Each line is always like triple meanings to what he's saying. It was like one thing he said recently. It was in one of his freestyles. I mean, I've been working. We got a song. I was like, man, I gotta help this dude make it some kind of way. I got a song with him and Trina, but like how you say this, it's the radio hit. It's the one that's gonna go on all the playlists and blah 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 blah. But
yeah,
this dude, this man say something like, let me see what he said. You just gotta listen to the pop out. Let me see if I can send you this. That dude.
Yeah,
for content.
I came across One Take Tim. I think he got a few records with Bryson Tiller. That's when I first learned about him.
Man, that man ain't no way, bro.
Nah, that's dope for sure, man. So what grabs your attention with artists today? Because I would imagine artists do hit you like getting your opinion on it. So what grabs your attention to know like, all right, this person is dope, like a One Take Timmy?
Man, from the first time I heard him, and then when it was like Gucci Home, that was like a freestyle he did on SoundCloud. That was the first time I ever heard him, and it just popped up, and I was listening to it, and I was like, man, this really sounds good. And I probably ended up listening to that one freestyle probably about 40, 50 times that night. I just kept playing it back to back to back to back. I rode from Broward County all the way to South Beach, back South Beach. I couldn't get out the car because I was just so stuck to what he was saying. And I hit him up on Instagram, and I was like, man, I want to manage you. I want to help you. I want to do something. And he was like, let's go. But then he took this picture with 2 Chainz. I was like, man, I know 2 Chainz gonna take him. There ain't no way I could get this dude.
Oh man.
So I was just like, let it go from there. Cause that was the same thing with like City Girls, man. I knew City Girls was gonna blow, and I wanted to help them. So we were supposed to go meet up a week before they met with QC. But QC got them. There wasn't nothing I could do about it from that point on.
Crazy.
Nah, that's dope. So
I think I have an ear for talent. Like I could tell you, Missy, I've been on the road with Missy for like 20 years. Like I'm her hype man. So if you've seen any shows, any TV shows, with the exception of probably 1, 2 TV shows that she's ever done that I've not done with her. I've done every Grammy, American Music Award, every festival, everything with this lady.
Yeah.
I picked out that Work It single for her.
Okay.
I'm glad you said that, because I was just about to ask you the golden question that been floating around since that song was released.
What
was Missy saying on that little part, man?
Is it worth it? Let me work it. I put my thing down, flip it, and reverse it. It's your feminine fine, yeah, baby. All she doing is saying, I put my thing down, flip it, and reverse it. Now reverse that. And it's going to say, it's your feminine fine, yeah, baby. Reverse it. It's saying the same thing.
That's hard, because it's, for all my life, that's like one of the hardest records, but I never knew what she was saying right there. I just be, yeah. Like, but that's a hard record, bro.
Yeah. But the ta. That shit. I'm like, damn.
Yeah.
I need a glass of water. I'm like, okay.
Missy is like that, man, for sure.
They get away with a lot of it. It make it so dope. CO, I say Missy Elliott and Mystical. I'm like, damn, the way they twist their words and the way they say it, you can't help but to repeat it. Like this shit go.
Yeah. Shoot, Plies be twisting his word too, and he be like, "Know what? Got a nigga bike? You know what a nigga like? How you gonna make back and like rhyme?"
Yeah. The Real
That's dope.
Testament, that's my favorite album by Plies. The first one, with that single Shawty and all that.
Yeah. Pussy ass cracker, give a nigga 100 years.
Yeah.
That's that album?
Yeah, had your mama leaving out the courtroom with tears.
Yeah. And the funny thing about that is he was Atlantic Records, they was like, man, we don't like the fact that you saying cracker, like that's like people not gonna like that. He was like, well, y'all got me saying nigga. I said nigga in the same thing. You ain't saying nothing about me saying nigga. So why should you care about me saying cracker?
Mm-hmm. So I'm saying.
Cold game, bro. Cold game.
Yeah.
We already know what the motive is behind that.
Yeah. So from there, I had to respect Homeboy too, because I was like, man, you stood up for yourself. A lot of people wouldn't have stood up for themselves, and he did.
So, like, is it really? Because I know the labels in certain people's situations and deals, they do have like creative control. But like you said, somebody like Plies stand up for itself. What comes with that when an artist does say, hey, I understand all of that y'all saying, but I still want to go about making my music this way? Like, can you kind of give us some insight on what that conversation is kind of like?
It just depends. Some people, they believe in what they, if the artists really believe in what they do, people ride with them. But like I said, most of these people that work in the office now, man, and they don't know music. They just there. It's a big corporation. You gotta think of it like that, right? You got. These are the pros of being with a label, though. You got people they got a blog section, and they got people that work on the radio. They got people that work on TV shows. They got people that work on a whole bunch of other things that you couldn't do as an independent label. So a lot of the times, if you just work with them, they'll work with you too. They'll give you a little leeway on some things. Yeah. But you just can't go in there and just be rebellious. I ain't doing this, I ain't doing that. Because then if people not excited about making your project happen, it's not gonna happen.
That makes sense.
And bro, like, I don't care how big you are. Aretha Franklin got dropped from her label. She was on Atlantic Records, but if you get what I'm saying, like the biggest thing ever, and then she don't have a record deals, that says a lot.
Yeah. So, CO, before we let you get out of here, man, well, DJ, you had anything else before we wrap up?
Nah, that was it.
Okay. So, CO, man, before we get out of here, tell the people, like, any kind of updates, any kind of projects you're working on.
Man, been working on this cooking show. Make sure y'all check out the cooking show. It's on Facebook. It's on YouTube. We had a few episodes on Foxo. Just make sure y'all check it out. This is the infamous kitchen that we cook out of every week. Let me see. That blurred background effect. It's the kitchen right here.
Okay, there you go.
The big 305 sign. Got Trick Daddy right
Bitch,
here.
I got my pots. That's what we talking about, y'all.
You got all the nice
Hit
up
that
on the wall.
button. Okay.
We cook. This is a real stove, man. We cook every week.
What's up, bro?
Yeah.
What's up, man?
For the show.
So yeah, man, make sure y'all check that out. Also, man, make sure y'all hit up Trina. Send prayers out to her. She just lost her niece. It was like really crazy. Her niece was like her daughter. They lived together. It wasn't like you know, just like a niece. Like that was like her daughter, really.
Condolences out to
So,
and her
but
family, man. That was hard on her, man.
yeah, definitely, it's real hard. She lost everybody in her family, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, but other than that, bro, I appreciate y'all hitting me up. Much love to you, and greatly appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
Y'all hit me
man.
09, and it's on and popping.
Yes, sir. We appreciate you, Steel, man. Y'all already
All
know
right, bro.
it was another dope episode of Stats and Facts. We'll see y'all soon.
See y'all soon.